So as you might have seen, there's a lot of innovation literature out there. There's a lot of executive education. There's a lot that you can learn inside your company. But what we found is that we would love to have a model where on Monday morning, 9 a.m., as a leadership team or as an innovator, that you know what to do and how to measure your innovation efforts. So that's how we introduced the Innovation Scorecard that measures your innovation efforts across 4 key areas. The first one is culture. The second one is internal in the organization. What can you change and what can you form in order to set your organization up for success? The third part is external dimensions, making sure that you're able to collaborate with clients, partners, and other stakeholders to drive new efforts. And then the fourth area is effectiveness, so measuring how effective you really are. The first point on the Innovation Scorecard under the category of culture is vision, mission, and values. We've seen that it's incredibly important that companies are able to articulate these and that people throughout the organizations are able to recite these on demand. A clear example of this is the company Tesla. Their vision and mission is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. And how this comes into practice is that when an employee in a certain meeting is doubting to surface that idea that they have and surface that opportunity that they see, when they're in doubt, they can always refer to the vision. It's like the thing that I'm thinking about, that I might not want to communicate. Is it in line with the company's vision, mission, and values? And if it is, it gives them the safety and the peace of mind to actually convey that. Without a clear vision, mission, and values, and having people being able to recite that is going to be very difficult. One other important area as part of innovation culture is having the right incentives in place. Oftentimes what we see is that leaders, they ask for the organization to innovate and to come up with new initiatives and new ideas, but then they still have 100% of the performance model geared towards current business and exploiting the current business. What we advise leaders is to evaluate what incentive model they're using. In Google, for example, there's not only 100% of target achievement that's important, but are you actually helping the customer and are you identifying new ways of streamlining current processes, making them better, and coming up with new solutions? If you have those attributes as part of your performance model, you can have people open up to new things. And it sends a strong signal throughout the organization if not 100% of your performance model is just driving revenue or hard KPIs. A second area where you can drive innovation efforts is internally in the organization, so setting the organization up for success. As part of that, one technique is having multiple paths to yes. And this means that if a person has a beautiful idea, a great idea at the bottom of the organization, but by chance they're not able to get along with, let's say, a senior leader or one manager in their reporting chain, they have multiple areas in the organization where they can pitch their idea and get support for their idea. And this is vital because if you look at, for example, the venture capital industry, if you look at Airbnb, they took 10, 20, maybe even 30 investors that said no. But we all know today it's a billion-dollar company. So getting different perspectives and getting different areas of the business that can provide you with funding and support when it's needed is vital, so that you don't get stuck with one bottleneck of hierarchy. A third point is external dimensions. So how can you work with external stakeholders and partners to drive innovation efforts? One area that I'd like to highlight is emergent customer segments, because a lot of companies currently, they're focusing on the segments of their customers today. But as we all know, the industry is changing every day and new customer segments are emerging or coming up. One example of this is Netflix, because they were able to transfer from having DVDs in the mail to offering digital video through streaming. And this is an emerging customer segment that wanted video on demand that wasn't there before. And the CEO was able to foresee this due to the expansive growth of broadband throughout the decade. The fourth point would be measuring effectiveness. So there's many ways that you can measure your innovation efforts. There is your market share, how profitable you are, how many patents do you have, do you win any awards for your innovation efforts, what are your customers saying about you. But there's one that I'd like to highlight is the R&D to sales conversion. And this is a metric where you look at the R&D expenditure and then consequently you can see how much revenue or net profit did you generate with those new innovation efforts. So it is one step closer and one step more specific than judging the overall profitability of a company. One vital area of leading for innovation is measuring your innovation effectiveness. And it can take a year, 2 years, or 3 years before you get to the return on investment, the return on net assets, or the internal rate of return. All those financial and monetary metrics don't apply yet. So how will you measure your innovation efforts in the short run? One way of doing this is by using innovation accounting, where you look at not only how many ideas did I generate, but how many of those ideas were actually implemented. How many hypotheses did you develop, and how many of those did you prove or refute? How many customer experiments did you actually conduct, and how many of those were successful? How many customers have you shown your product, and how many of them told you that they actually have appetite for the product in question? And as you can imagine, a lot of these metrics at scale, they can be quite impactful.